Hey Tech students, I'm going to make this little video in order to try to get us off on the right foot for homework on Lesson 2.1. And it's all about getting ready for class and how are you going to do that in the easiest way possible and the quickest way possible. Alright, so I'm looking in PyCharm here and I know I'm going to be asked to run code that's in the chapter. Here's the book. And I can, go up here and say File, New Project, and I can make a folder that's called Lesson 2.1, okay? So, but a lot of people are having trouble finding those files when they create them in PyCharm. So I just want to point out to you that the PyCharm project folder is just like any other directory on your computer. It's located somewhere on your computer. So even if you had to search your computer for the folder that's called PyCharm projects, that would be a way to get acquainted. Where does it sit? The default is that it's sitting, like if you see here, I've got my C drive, users, my username, and then PyCharm projects. That's the default when you install, okay? Now what a lot of people are doing who are going back and forth between computers, they take that whole PyCharm project folder, like here, I could take that folder and drag it into OneDrive, and then my files will be accessible everywhere, alright? So instead of opening my new folder in PyCharm, I can treat this like any other directory. Go out here, right click, say new folder, and I'm, of course I already have a folder for our chapter, but I'm just going to call it, for this to make it stand out, I'm going to call it AAA. That's just to make it go to the top of the list, okay? Lesson 2.1. Now, that's the project folder. That will include everything, the chapter reading, the PowerPoint code, and separate programs that I'm going to do in this under this lesson. So right now I've created a folder. I'm going to click away from it so it actually registers. And then if you noticed here in PyCharm, all of a sudden I got a new project in here. So when you do a new project, it's just like you're in your directory and you say new folder. Alright, so make sure you kind of get this straight, because this is what is, like really bogging you down if you're not real clear. Where are these files? How do I get to them? And so forth. One more thing about working in your regular directory is this is a better place to rename things. Okay? In fact, I would suggest if you're going to rename folders or files, go here rather than here. Alright, so anyway, I've got my new project, and my first file is going to be my chapter reading file. So if I click on that folder first, that's the project folder, and I right click, then I'm going to say new Python file, and make sure you choose the right one here and call it book code or something like that. Just something to make it stand out from the PowerPoint code. Alright, so I got a new Python file. And I'm just using the usual comment here, and then I'm going to start reading, blah, 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 and finally when I get here, I'm being told to run code in the interpreter. Now, I can do it that way, but it's going to be a lot better if you make the transition to coding in the Python file. So I'm going to say here, I ignore these greater than or chevron signs, and I do spam equals true, and that's got to be capitalized. And then what I need to do here, whenever it's just saying enter spam, if I want to see the results when I'm using the Python file, I have to do print spam. Otherwise, if I just put spam, it won't show me anything when I run it. I need to use the print statement to run. So at this point, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna right-click and say Run Book Code, and I see true come up down here. So spam equals true. That's setting a variable to a value. This is asking to see that variable, what it contains, and in order to make that happen in the Python file, I have to do print spam. If you were just an interpreter, that would result. But here's that result is down here. Okay, and this one, of course, will give you an error, and so forth. So what I can do is, like when we're working in the PowerPoint, we would say slide number. I could do, just to keep things organized, section, Boolean, what do they call it? Boolean values, right? And so I hope that this helps to talk about how you would create a file and with some small adaptations. Now, see, if I made an error, like I didn't capitalize the T, I could go back and change it and rerun it again, okay, rather than getting that mess down here with errors. Same is going to be true with my PowerPoint